Wait, pause. Reverse this. Before we can actually get into this ab routine, I gotta cover some tips for you guys real quick. A question I'm really commonly asked is, how do I get abs and what routine, what exercise should I be doing to really get my abs to show? Now, before we actually get into any of the routine or any of the exercise that we need to do, I need to cover the fact that there's a couple things you need to know before you do any ab training. Firstly, you gotta get to a certain level of body fat before your abs will even show. It doesn't mean that you shouldn't be doing ab routines at all, because if you don't have the muscle there, it doesn't matter if you lose the fat, it's not gonna look really good, and you're also gonna have to get to a really low fat if you don't have really any ab muscles to really protrude through that fat. Generally, around 15 to 12% body fat is when you start to see abs come out on a male. Add the additional body fat for a female, and then lower than that is when you start to see them really starting to crisp up, 12 to 10, and then anything below 10%, you're really going to be able to define each part of the abs. You know, probably a 6-pack, maybe an 8-pack on some people. You'll be able to see the obliques, possibly the serratus, those little like rib muscles on the sides. That is all due to a low body fat combined with actually having developed those muscles themselves. You absolutely need to be doing core training just because it helps with all of your exercising, all of your workouts, as well as your posture and your daily life. But especially if you were trying to see your abs come out during the dieting phase, you need to give extra attention to your abs and really work on them, you know, every other day or every day, and really make sure that you are getting them to fire correctly, which brings me to my next tip. A lot of people don't actually know this, but there are two parts to your ab wall. The only part that we really think about, because it's the only part that we see, is the rectus abdominis. That is the 6-pack or the 8-pack that you see on the front. Most people only know how to flex their rectus abdominis, but what's actually more important than your rectus abdominis is your transverse abdominis, which is a wall of muscle below that 6-pack, below the rectus abdominis, that helps to stabilize your hips and stabilize your core so that you can actually do exercises properly. It actually helps with everything that you do, and if you have a weak transverse abdominis, which most people do due to the fact that we're all at desks and we're all kind of lazy stand and we let our backs just take all the brunt of everything. If you do that, it's going to be extremely hard to build a 6-pack, and it's also going to cause a lot of lower back pain. The way that you can think of flexing your rectus abdominis, your 6-pack, is just the way that you probably already think about flexing your 6-pack, when you just crunch down. Think about this. When someone slaps you in the stomach unexpectedly, think about how you suck in all of a sudden. That is your transverse abdominis. Everybody knows about the plank exercise, and that's actually a really good transverse abdominis workout, but you just have to know how to do it like properly, because a lot of times people will put a lot of stress into their lower back when doing the plank. Right now you're looking at my abs when they are completely unflexed. Now I'm going to show you the difference between rectus and transverse abdominis flexing. First, I'm going to use my transverse abdominis to bring my hips up by sucking in just a little bit. By doing that suck in, I'm activating my transverse abdominis, I'm getting my hips into place, and then I'm going to flex my rectus abdominis on top of that. Generally, a lot of people will do one or the other, and when you do that, that's when you start experiencing lower back pain while doing exercises. It's also when you have core instability, and it's also what leads to people just really cocking their backs up and having their rib cage completely stick up. That's a weak abdominal structure, and that's also not going to look good when you lose your body fat. I could talk all day about abs and different little tips that will help you with them. The final little one that I'm going to add in there is, if you have a lower sodium diet, after you've lost that body fat, when you have a lower sodium diet, you're going to hold a lot less water, and that's going to help you look a lot better. If you guys have noticed, in the last couple of weeks, months, I've looked really like I've lost a lot of body fat, but I've actually just changed my diet over to having a lower sodium diet, which before I was having 5 to 9 grams of sodium a day. Now I'm getting maybe half that or less on some days, and also make sure that you get plenty of water. And finally, getting a tan always really helps pop your abs out, especially if you're someone who's really pasty like myself. Now, the ab workout that I'm going to show you right now is just 3 exercises that I really like. You can do a lot of different ones, and you could even just do one of these exercises a lot, and it will help develop your core as long as you are activating your muscles correctly. I'll show you guys many more exercises for your abs throughout the months of me working here on my bulk, but today I'm just going to show you these 3. And the first one that we're going to start with is a sliding plank. This is a great one to start with because it's a great way to warm your core up before you get into a little bit more of these more difficult exercises. But if this is is too difficult for you, you can actually just skip the sliding part and just do planks. Just make sure that you are activating your transverse abdominis correctly and getting your hips under you before you start this exercise. So you start with your elbows right under your shoulders, elbows on a pad, and then you are going to suck that stomach in like a stomach vacuum, or again like someone slapping you in the stomach. And then from there, while holding that sucked in position, that transverse abdominis being flexed, squeeze your glutes and then slide your feet up towards your body. You want to slide up as far as you can possibly go that's still comfortable. Using socks is really awesome if you have a wood floor. There's also like sliding devices. I've never used those, but I've seen people use those before. So if you need one of those, you can definitely get some sliding devices, little pads you put under your feet. You shouldn't be feeling any back pain at all, like zero back pain. So if you are feeling back pain, that means you're not properly using your transverse abdominis, and it means you're not ready to start sliding. You should just stick with planks and really try to activate that transverse abdominis by doing those stomach vacuum. Everybody's always interested in how many reps and stuff. Again, it is all about how to activate your core. So if you are really weak, do as much as you can do, and the next time build up on it. The way that I like to do this one is I like to do 10 sliding front ones without any twist. Then I like to twist to my left, do 5 sliding, and then twist to my right and do 5 sliding. Take a break and then do another set. Again, on all of those, even the twist, I want to first activate my transverse abdominis and then pull up. It's something that you have to continue doing even as you have a stronger core, because it is easy to let go of that transverse abdominis and just rely on your rectus abdominis, which is not good. Next up, you've probably seen these before. You might have even actually done these before. This is the hanging leg or knee raise. Depending on what your strength levels in your core, you can either bring your knees up or you can bring completely straight legs up. Straight legs is really hard. You got really strong core if you're doing that, and you probably already know all this information if you do have that ability. But you want to first go up from a dead hang from a pull-up bar or just anything that you can hold from, and then from there you're going to activate your TVA. Again, that suck in, and that's going to be the start position for you. Then you want to pull your hips up, kind of imagining bringing your hip bone up to your nose, which is just impossible, but that's the idea. And then you're going to do, I like to do 5 in the front, then twist to my left side. And with my left side, I like to think about my hip bone coming up to my shoulder. Obviously you can't, that's not something that you're actually going to do, but that thought really helps to keep your transverse abdominis firing and really get you to use your oblique. Then I twist to my right side, do the same thing. A lot of people are really afraid of doing oblique exercises or doing work for your obliques. It is a complement to your abs. Not only does it look great, it's very aesthetic, but it's also very functional. If you don't work your obliques, but you only work the front of your core, that rectus and transverse, you're gonna have postural issues. You're also gonna have issues with a lot of different lifts. It's just not a good idea. Do it all at once. Do all of it. It's gonna be really good for you, and it's also gonna transfer over into your other lifts. Now this last one I really like, and you may have seen this one too, but again, it is all about how you do it. So what you're gonna do is get a slight decline bench. Now in this clip, you're gonna see it's a pretty heavy decline bench. You don't need that much of a decline down, especially for the angle that we're gonna be using this at. It's just the only one that was available at my gym, but you really only need just a very slight decline. What you're gonna do is set up on that and hold a dumbbell or a weight plate or really any sort of weight, or maybe you don't even need weight in the beginning. And then you're going to squeeze your glutes first, and then suck your stomach and get that transverse abdominis going. Get your rib tips down by doing that, and then flex your rectus abdominis on top of that. Then flex your 6-pack on top of that. From that position, you are going to twist with your shoulders completely down and the weight down at your hip. You're going to twist until the weight is at the hip bone, at the tip of your hip bone, and then from that position, with that suck in, because it's really easy to lose it right here, with your stomach sucked in, twist right back to the front, all the way too, because a lot of people like to do a little slight twist. They don't like to come all the way through. Again, when it comes to core, a lot of it is going to be lazy tendencies versus engaging and really committing to it. It kind of sucks to commit, but if you don't commit, you're going to be cheating yourself. You're not going to be getting as much workout, and you're probably going to have underdeveloped muscles in certain parts of your core. Come all the way up and go to the other side. So there you have it, guys. I know a little bit technical. I know a lot of people make these videos, these ab and core training videos, and it's kind of just like, just grab a weight and then just bring your collarbone down to your hips and just slam your head into your knees and flip around and do some awesome stuff, and then you'll look awesome like me. And I really want to make it simple and fun like that, but I think when it comes to core activation and when it comes to building a really good core, you have to learn how to activate your transverse abdominis first, that stomach vacuum. Then you can learn how to flex down your abs, because those on top of each other are what make a core look good. It's what makes a six-pack look really, really good versus a very oddly developed one. You'll see this in other guys where you see like the six-pack is really bulgy, but for some reason it looks like it's not flat, and it's because they aren't flexing that transverse abdominis under it. I'm just trying to give you guys the best information that I can possibly give you, and I wish somebody would have had this kind of stuff more laid out for me when I was getting into bodybuilding, because all that anybody would say is just grab a heavy weight and just crank it on down. Which, you know, it'll work in some respects, but in the long run, it will not pay off the same as this will pay off. So take your due time and learn how to do this, and you're gonna be astounded at how quickly you can gain strength in your core, as well as how much better your core actually looks when you do this kind of a training versus just cranking after it like a bro. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. People always ask me to make a six-pack video or a core video and how to make a six-pack happen. And after, you know, eating a lower sodium diet, getting a tan, and finally drinking more water and getting more on point with everything, I've had a lot more of these questions come up, so I wanted to address this in a really concise and detailed video. I hope that it served you guys well. I would love for you to snap me on Brian Turner, just all one word, or on Instagram. Send me your stories, your DMs and stuff, tag me in them. I want to see you guys doing this. I want to see how you guys like this workout. I always really appreciate seeing you guys use the information that I put out here on these videos, so thank you guys for tagging me. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you give it a thumbs up. Let me know in the comments below. Subscribe if you're not subscribed already. Team Beyond the Week, CD.
Heavy or die MIRIN, motherfucker.
Team Beyond the Week, CT.